Ah, the legendary French Grand Prix is almost upon us. And by legendary, Paul Ricard, I do not mean you. The French Grand Prix has been around since 1906, making it one of the oldest Grand Prix races in the calendar. Yes, I know Formula 1 only really became a thing in 1950, with the first driver's title going to Giuseppe Farina. The first official Formula 1 French Grand Prix was won by none other than Juan Manuel Fangio at the Remy circuit in his Alfa Romeo, which would eventually lead him to the driver's title just a year later. But that doesn't matter. The main focus is our top 5 moments at the French Grand Prix. Let's get into this. Starting off in number 5, we have the 2018 race at Paul Ricard. This was the first time we had a French Grand Prix since 2008, and we were in for a real treat, with the first 2 laps anyways. On the starting grid we had the 2 Mercedes, predictable, split by Sebastian Vettel, then the 2 Red Bull drivers of Verstappen and Ricciardo. When the lights went out, that is when the absolute beauty happened. Into the first corner goes Hamilton, Bottas and Vettel. Vettel had the slipstream from Hamilton, however Bottas was much braver on the brakes. Vettel locked up and spun out Bottas and himself. Both cars recovered and finished, Vettel in 5th and Bottas in 7th. We then went into turn 2 and we saw 5 cars run off the track, only to realise that the Force India of Esteban Ocon and the Toro Rosso of Pierre Gasly collided, what would then be that both French drivers would not finish their home race. The only Frenchman to finish that day was Romain Grosjean, who finished P11 in the Haas. In the number 4 spot, we have 2002 Schumacher's 5th title and Raikkonen's first win denial. At the start of the French Grand Prix, Raikkonen started in 4th on the grid, with Montoya, Schumacher and Barrichello in front of him. The race got off to a good start with not much changing in the grid order, until Kimi managed to take hold of the race out in front and was set to win. It wasn't until later in the race when a Toyota spun off the track and Kimi locked up and ran really wide into the corner, allowing Michael Schumacher to gain and overtake him on what could have been his first big moment in his career. It was later found out that he had run over oil on the track, which led to this mistake. This mistake would also mean that Schumacher claimed his 5th F1 World Championship title, equaling the record of Juan Manuel Fangio. On to number 3. We had a tough time whittling down our top 3, but here it goes, starting off with the podium lockout. It's not common in Formula 1 for podium positions to be filled by people of all the same nationality, never mind at a home race. But in the 1982 French Grand Prix, as the race was underway, things got quite interesting as both the Brabham BMWs of Nelson Piquet and Riccardo Patrese, their engines failed, which meant that coming to the end of the race, we had René Arnoux, a Frenchman, Alain Prost, also a Frenchman, and then Didier Pironi, another Frenchman, crossed the line to take all the podium spots. Prost and Arnoux, both in Renault Works cars too, meaning that 3 French drivers, of which 2 raced for a French team, at the French Grand Prix, all got into the podium places. Also as a bonus, in the second Ferrari was driver Patrick Tambay, another Frenchman, who finished in 4th, making it a 1-2-3-4 French finish. This will likely never happen again today, with the paddock being so diversely mixed, with different nationalities. But this is most definitely a once-in-a-lifetime spectacle that could never have been predicted to happen. In second place, number 2, Michael Schumacher's 8th French Grand Prix win. After Michael Schumacher broke Alain Prost's record for the most French Grand Prix wins after winning his 7th in 2004, it was destined that he would become one to set a record for the most wins on any one circuit, and that he did. In 2006, Michael Schumacher and his Ferrari 248 F1 sat on pole position, his last in his F1 career, ready to take another race win in France, and that's exactly what he did, defending off Fernando Alonso and then teammate Felipe Massa to take his 8th win at the French Grand Prix, making him the driver to have the most wins in France. He then held the record for the most wins at any one track until 2020, when Lewis Hamilton won his 8th at the Hungaroring in Hungary. They are now both tied. Lewis has the opportunity this year to beat that record, but will the Red Bulls stop him? Only time will tell. And now, on to number 1. The 2019 French Grand Prix. The 2020 race being cancelled. And what actually takes the checkered flag in number 1 is an action-packed 2-lap shootout between Gilles Villeneuve and René Arnoux. At the 1979 French Grand Prix in Dijon, Gilles Villeneuve and René Arnoux shared 2 of the most intense laps. By many fans, this was the best wheel-to-wheel racing ever in an F1 race. These last 2 laps entailed of Villeneuve and Arnoux constantly swapping positions nearly every single corner, side by side on the straights, touching wheels, and being right beside each other in many of the corners as well. It went right down to the final corner before Arnoux could not hold on to Villeneuve anymore and had to settle for 3rd over Villeneuve, who finished in 2nd. The skill required to drive like that is just mesmerising. Keeping it so close at high speeds without taking each other out was one of the greatest spectacles in motor racing we have ever seen. Compared to today's modern era, we don't see as much wheel-to-wheel racing, as it has become a lot more strict on the rules, and also due to different power gains in the teams. This means one will always pull away out of the corner. So, there you have it, our top 5 French Grand Prix moments. Anything we missed out, or think we should have changed? Let us know in the comments below. Are you excited for this weekend's French Grand Prix? Probably not. While you're still here, why not check out our podcasts we do after every race and talk about our predictions and Fantasy League for the next upcoming race. Also, why not check out our all-new updated website, theapexmotorsport.com, where you can find articles and news on all things motorsport. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, why not consider subscribing, as it helps us out massively. And why not check out some more of our videos that are on screen now.